Good morning. Welcome to the Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. Today is Thursday, the 14th of May. We're glad you found us here on the 13 News Now app, wherever you stream your television and video. Maybe you've got us here on YouTube. However you found the Weather Desk, we're happy you're here. We're going to go ahead and tackle today's top weather headlines, and we've got some interesting ones. We'll start off with a look at some tornado damage from down in Florida. You remember a couple days ago, I was talking about storms that were going to roll into Florida. Then we were tracking some storms across the Sunshine State. Well, we had some video of some damage in Florida, but it turns out now, upon closer inspection, 2 confirmed tornadoes north of Tampa. We'll show you that in just a moment. I also have today's severe weather outlook. Parts of the Midwest getting ready for some more rough weather over the next 3 days. So we'll talk about areas that are under the gun for potential stronger storms there. In addition, we've got the new U.S. drought monitor just came down within the last 35 minutes or so. We'll show you areas in better shape and how things have changed a little bit. I'll break that down for you. Then we're going to talk about wildfires, and we've got an update out of one that's in Southern California, not far from Santa Barbara. We'll get into that. But we're going to look back historically at the Peshtigo fire, the deadliest fire in U.S. history. Really interesting. As I was reading more and more about it, I was really kind of drawn into the story, and it is interesting. Evan Stewart, my colleague, takes a look back at that as we've been doing significant historical weather events, celebrating 250 years of the United States throughout the year, and Evan's done a great job with those stories. Stay tuned. In addition, we have some news on Hurricane Helene and recovery. I'll have the tropical update, talk a little bit more about when NOAA's coming out with their seasonal outlook. We'll give you the look from Colorado State, and we'll talk about some things you can do now if you haven't really thought about it before the official start of the hurricane season. We've got summer-like days ahead, started this weekend for Norfolk and for the Mid-Atlantic. We're talking high temperatures getting up close to 90 and then into the low 90s. So get ready. It's going to start feeling a lot warmer. We're going to get into the Florida's tornado damage in just a moment, but I very quickly just wanted to update folks. Few showers we've been tracking earlier this morning through the area. I said around 8:30, 9 o'clock or so, this stuff would be out. It's done here on the south side, save for maybe a little sprinkle down around Knott's Island. A little bit of wet weather still in Currituck and Camden down towards the Albemarle, but this stuff is moving off pretty quickly to the east. Won't be there much longer. Up around Chincoteague, those showers just now starting to clear Chincoteague Island. So we'll continue to watch that. Down to the south again around Knott's Island, a few sprinkles. Water Lily, Kildevil Hills, Nags Head, you could still see a passing sprinkler or two. And then just off to the southeast of Edenton, some light to moderate showers. They will impact Scuppernong, Jaycox, and eventually back over to the Outer Banks as this rolls along this one here, very light out to the southwest. Things will improve. We've got some nice weather to look forward to here in Hampton Roads. Want to take you down to Florida, and let's take this map full because I'm going to walk over to the pod and kind of control the radar a bit because we're going to look just north of Tampa. Right now, things are very, very calm, but as we take a closer look here, and I'm going to stop it right here, all right, and take you back to Tuesday morning. Tuesday, as we got into the early afternoon, you see Hudson there, and you see Shady Hills, those two communities. As we got into the afternoon, between 1:30 and 2 o'clock, we had these storms right here coming through. And this cell that you see approaching Hudson, that kind of notch right there, back over to Shady Hills right there, that's when there were a couple of confirmed EF0 tornadoes touching down. That's in Pasco County. And this was on Tuesday. One hit Hudson. Again, the other one, as I mentioned, Shady Hills. You can see this look at some of the damage in Hudson, about 2 hours here to the west of Orlando and north of Tampa. One man says wind gusts ripped the roof off his home.
Gust came and basically pushed the door shut on me, and I heard a loud, and the roof was gone. Hit my son's truck, blew out his windshield.
All right, you can see the damage there. Now, the National Weather Service surveyed the location. They say the Hudson tornado was on the ground for more than a mile, and it was about 400 yards wide. We're going to get into the severe weather outlook. And again, you can see that's what the cell that produced that tornado was looking like from the radar as it was bearing down on Shady Hills. We'll take a look now at what's going on, and you can see Florida in much better shape this morning. As far as the severe weather outlook goes, moving forward, in central Kansas, they've got a level 2 or slight risk of severe storms. Level 1, marginal risk for northern Missouri, southern Nebraska, out across western Kansas, down through the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. This has been a really active area over the early and middle part of the spring. As we take a look, not really a tornadic threat today for that part of the country, thank goodness, but they do have to worry about some potential damaging wind gusts. Again, that elevated risk there in central Kansas, and then larger hail also possible. I just wanted to point out some of the communities, including Salina. You can see Manhattan, Topeka, back down through Emporia, Kansas. So those areas definitely want to keep a close eye to development, as larger hail is a potential there. Now we go to tomorrow's severe weather outlook, and this is what's really the shame. I mean, this area that's under it today will also be under it tomorrow, so not much of a break. They've got a couple days with that severe weather potential extending into northwestern Missouri, places like Tarkio and St. Joseph, Missouri, back up into southern Iowa. You head into Illinois, back through St. Louis and down towards the Boot Heel. They still have that level 1 or marginal risk that extends down through Paducah, Kentucky. So this area needing to watch out. As far as the tornadic risk, again, not looking significant with this setup for tomorrow. That's from the Storm Prediction Center. Gusty winds, primary concern, and then large hail from Kansas back into Missouri, the same general area with an elevated risk for the hail. So that's the way things look on Friday. Saturday, another day, would you believe? So a third potential day from Kansas and then into the northwest part of Missouri. This outlook actually extends all the way back into eastern Colorado and covers more of southern Nebraska and southern Iowa. So we'll keep an eye to all of this. That's a severe weather outlook. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to have an update on the U.S. Drought Monitor. It was just released. We'll find out if all that rain last week helped ease some of the dry conditions in Hampton Roads. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. You know, within the last hour, the U.S. Drought Monitor released a new report. This is a weekly map that shows what the drought conditions are across the country. So for Hampton Roads, we are still in severe drought. That's despite getting over 1.5 inches of rain last week. That's how bad things have been. So things have maybe improved a little bit, but technically we are still considered severe drought for our region. That's Norfolk, Portsmouth, back through Suffolk, northern Chesapeake, areas out to the west, the peninsula, middle peninsula, northern neck, eastern shore, all the way up into Maryland and Delaware. For much of Virginia Beach, southern Chesapeake, and into northeast North Carolina, it's a moderate drought, so not quite as bad there. The extreme drought continues out to the west, very little change there. I think the one thing to note, if you recall, last week, Charlotte had an area just out to the east of it that was in exceptional drought. They did get some more rain down this way as well, which has helped a little bit. You still see extreme drought, so it's still very dry. They still need more rain. But at least we've seen some signs that this rain has helped in some areas alleviate some of the really extensive drought that we've been watching. Down to the south, despite some of the heavier storms, maybe a little bit of this has been pared down, but there's still this large area of exceptional drought from extreme southern South Carolina through southern and southeast Georgia into North Florida. We'll continue to watch that, and you'll notice the extreme drought down through much of Florida. There's a little area here that's in better shape along the Central Ocean coastal areas, right around the Space Coast and just south of that on Florida. But much of Florida still needing more, and we've been watching those Everglades fires as well. Across Texas, they're doing better now, and back across Colorado, still there is this drought going on. They've had the snow drought. There's still exceptional drought, but it looks like some of the areas that were previously exceptional have been lessened at least a little bit to the extreme levels. We still have some exceptional drought out here across southern Idaho, but much of California just in good shape, abnormally dry, and parts of Utah, while many areas still extreme, other areas have been kind of shifted to severe. So we'll watch that. Things still good around the Great Lakes. In fact, they've had excessive rainfall in this part of the country, and that's the area set up for more of those severe storms. We'll see how things go. Well, again, as we take a look at the dry conditions, it's helping to fuel many of the wildfires that we're seeing right now. And in Southern California here, not too far from LA, we've been watching that one because we do have evacuation orders that have been lifted. Some good news there after a brush fire forced some people to leave their homes. This is a look at conditions in Chino Hills, not far from Santa Barbara. So far, the Grand Fire has scorched around 30 acres and is 0% contained. We know one firefighter was taken to a hospital with minor injuries, but otherwise, crews say they're making progress putting out the flames due to cooler temperatures and increased humidity. All right, we're going to take a look back in history, and while most Americans have heard about the Great Chicago Fire, did you know that very same day and that night, another fire was sparked in the forests of Wisconsin? Meteorologist Evan Stewart takes a look back to a small logging town that became the site of the deadliest wildfire in American history.
It's the deadliest wildfire in U.S. history, and one you've probably never heard of. Now, most people know about the Great Chicago Fire, but on that exact same night in 1871, an even deadlier firestorm was tearing through the forests of Wisconsin. The Peshtigo Fire killed an estimated 12,000 to 2,500 people, making it the deadliest wildfire in American history. Peshtigo was a booming lumber town in northwestern Wisconsin, and the town was surrounded by dry forests, sawmills, and piles of logs and logging debris. Now, after months of drought, a powerful cold front blasted through on October 8, 1871, bringing strong winds and extremely dry air. Small fires were already burning in the woods, and they suddenly exploded into a massive firestorm. Survivors described walls of flame, tornado-like fire whirlwinds, and heat so intense, some people escaped into the Peshtigo River, hiding for hours. Today, we still look for the same dangerous combination during wildfire outbreaks: dry air, strong winds, and abundant fuel. A little-known disaster the same night as a more famous fire, and another example how human activity and extreme weather come together to create disasters on a massive scale.
We're going to take a short break. Coming up, the start of the hurricane season, now less than 3 weeks away. We'll go over early predictions for the year, plus recovery efforts still underway from past hurricane seasons. How Virginia and North Carolina are doing nearly 2 years after Helene. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. It's the start of the Atlantic hurricane season, just a few weeks away, getting closer and closer to it. And we've got to take a look at what's going on. We're going to jump into the tropical outlook. This is from Colorado State University. Now, the National Weather Service, NOAA, and the Hurricane Center will put out their season predictions. That's going to be released on the 21st, so that'll come out next week. And that'll be our next update for what they're thinking. But remember, if you haven't already seen this, we average 14 named storms, with 7 of those becoming hurricanes, and typically 3 of those hurricanes becoming major hurricanes. Colorado State saying, probably a little less than average activity, and they are, of course, looking at this developing El Nino. It's possible we could see even less activity. Sometimes with these stronger El Ninos, it really suppresses tropical development in the Atlantic. That all being said, you know, we still have to be ready because sea surface temperatures are very warm. There's kind of some offsetting factors that are still in play right now. So officially, Colorado State, and they've been outstanding at forecasting the hurricane seasons for years and years and years. So we do look at them as well. 13 systems, 6 hurricanes, and 2 major hurricanes. That's their prediction. This is what we saw last year. So pretty similar to last year, maybe a couple less major hurricanes if CSU is correct. Let's take a look at what's going on out there right now. You can see across the Atlantic basin, things are quiet, looking good in the Gulf. The Caribbean clear as a bell, and no development out in the main development region, so no tropical activity expected over the next 7 days. And tomorrow marks the beginning of the hurricane season in the eastern part of the Pacific. So while we talk about El Ninos and strong El Ninos suppressing development in the Atlantic basin, we sometimes have more frequent hurricanes in the eastern Pacific. So these areas potentially impacting Hawaii, and obviously we always keep a close eye for the Mexican coast and areas down along the Baja Peninsula as well. We'll be watching, but right now, no development there. So that is good news, and of course we will keep you updated throughout the entire hurricane season. Well, we're going to take a look at things you can do right now, because even though we're not in season, this is a time to think about some things like determining your risk from winds and water, just where you live or where you work. Do you have to worry about storm surge flooding, or do you have to worry about backing up water from excessive rainfalls? Are you vulnerable to strong winds? Begin preparing now before we're even into the season. Start thinking about these things and learn how to understand hurricane forecasts and alerts. Also learn what to do before, during, and after a storm is actually bearing down. All right, while we are in good shape now with the hurricanes, it's important to note that when we do deal with these systems, they can have long-lasting impacts. Some regions are still recovering from past hurricane seasons. This week, the National Park Service announced it will award Virginia with $2 million in grant money for Helene recovery. The storm made landfall in Florida as a Category 4 hurricane in September 2024. It went on to slam Georgia, Tennessee, and the Carolinas, as well as southwestern Virginia. The grant money will come from the Emergency Supplemental Historic Preservation Fund and will help 37 localities document how its historic sites there in Virginia were impacted by the storm. North Carolina is also still recovering from Hurricane Helene. This week, Governor Josh Stein met with economic leaders from the western part of the state as communities there are still pushing to receive more aid. The storm is estimated to have caused at least $60 billion in damage. Governor Stein says he's committed to securing more funding.
For the past year and a half, the importance of your work has become amplified, and you've had to be even more creative under challenging circumstances. And I want you to know that I am committed and will remain committed to partnering with you in these efforts.
This week, North Carolina Senator Ted Budd also announced FEMA was releasing another $38 million in public assistance. Those are grants for 15 repair projects in North Carolina. All right, we're looking live outside, and as we do, it's been kind of a damp start to our Thursday in Hampton Roads. In just 2 minutes, I'll have the full outlook. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. Yesterday, 77, normal 77. We were dry at the airport at 4.6 inches. That is our deficit for rainfall. We've seen some rain this morning. That rain is pretty much out of here now. Just that low risk of a stray shower a little later today down south. Most of us are going to see skies becoming partly sunny. It's going to be pleasant. Temperatures tomorrow in the mid 70s to upper 70s. And then we get that hot stretch 5 days. Upper 80s to low 90s before temperatures settle back closer to average to end next week. Let's take a look at that super long outlook. You saw the precip above average expected here, above normal temperatures pretty much from coast to coast across the country. This takes you through the 28th of May. So obviously, some more warm weather coming across the U.S. Right now, again, the last of the sprinkles kind of winding down across our area. Still wet for the northeast U.S. Vermont, New Hampshire, those areas dealing with some showers. We've seen rain across Massachusetts down into Connecticut, parts of Long Island getting a little wet, seeing some wet weather, South Jersey and into Delaware as well. A few sprinkles out over eastern Ohio and now into western PA. As we take a look at the wind flow, winds coming in from the northwest. There's a frontal boundary that just came through our area, and with that clearing the coast now, that's why we're seeing the cooler conditions today. All right, so today, instead of being close to normal, we're going to be more like upper 60s to near 70. The showers winding down now at the Outer Banks. All of this will continue to slide off to the southeast. So that goes away. Could see a stray shower later, but generally should become partly sunny and then mainly clear overnight. More sunshine coming up for your day tomorrow. Things are really looking good. All right, as we take a look at the forecast, again, we want to let folks know grass and tree pollen, both those are moderate. Mold is low. We're going to see more sunshine tomorrow. Those pollen levels will be jumping up. You're going to find great conditions tomorrow. The Greek Fest in Norfolk starts today. It's going to be great for the next couple of days. Beautiful for the weekend. A little warmer, though, so stay hydrated. Have a great time if you're doing that. And then get ready for more hot weather into early next week. Again, things cooling down a bit by the end of next week. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Weather Desk. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you next time.